Hi everyone, welcome back. So in this clip I'll be talking briefly about the print function, which you saw in action in the last clip, and then we'll go to talking about variables, which is very basic construct and in the concept of programming. So I will first look at talk about the print function. So the print function, you saw it as it works in the last clip, which takes temperature input from user and it prints the output in Kelvin scale. So this print function is a inbuilt function given to us freely by Python. So the construct is this print, then the two open and close brackets. So whatever you put inside these two open and close brackets is printed out, either by double quotation, for example, hi there, or single quotation. If you print this, it will give you exactly what you have in the quotation mark. So the print function sees this as text because you have the quotation mark in there. If you remove the quotation mark, the print function will see this as two variables, hi and there, as two variables. So and if you are going to print two variables inside the print function, you need to separate them by comma. If I run this code now, it will tell you perhaps you forgot comma. So the print function thinks that these are two variables, I and there, and you forgot to separate them by comma so that you can print them both in the print function. So if I separate them by comma, that's when the print function will realize that this hi has not been defined anywhere. You have not defined any variable I anywhere. If I run this, you can see that it said hi is not defined. Assuming I have let's just stop it there, that hi is not defined. I will talk about this in the next topic here, which is variables. So that means we have not defined anything like hi. So if you want to print anything as text, you need to put it inside a single or a double quotation mark. So if I print this one, it will print everything including the comma as text. So this also, if you look at printing numbers, assuming you have a number here and you put the number inside quotation mark, let's say we have 70, this will print the 70, but it is different from the printing we have here. They are both 70, but the first one is a text while the second one is a number. So the print method sees numeric value and is able to print it. If you put a numeric value, it will print the numeric value. You don't need the quotation mark. So if I put an expression for example, I have 70 plus 30. The print method knows that this is an expression, this is an arithmetic expression, and it will evaluate it and print the result for us. You can see that this gives us 70 and 100. If I put the same here, the print method will see that 70 plus the first 70 plus 30 as text, while the second 70 plus 30 as expression, and you can see the output now. So that is how print method works. So it takes in either a straight value, a text value, a numeric value, or an expression. If you are representing a text value, you have to put it inside quotation mark. If you put a single quotation, for example like this, the value of 3 plus 4 is 3 plus 4. So you can see this, the first value we want to print is a text, and the second value is an expression, and if you run this, it will give you the value of 3 plus 4 is 7. So it does evaluate this expression up and print the output for us. So that's a brief illustration about print method, and you can see that if you are printing two values, you need to separate it by comma. Two different values, you need to separate it by comma. So let's go to concept of variables. So variable in programming is like a container that stores value. It's like a container that stores value. They represent a storage location in the computer memory where the value that they are being storing is located. So, and the value held in variable can be manipulated and changed during program execution. They help storing and retrieving values and enabling program to work dynamically on the values. They give context to value. For example, if you have a value 2, if I have a value 2 in my program, and you will be wondering, what does the 2 represent? But if I say number of students is equal to 2, you know already what the 2 is representing. So variable help us to give context to our to the values or number inside program. So this is a variable. This number of students is a variable, and is storing the value 2. If you print this, if you print number of students, now you can see you don't need quotation because number of students has been defined earlier, and if we print it, it will print exactly the value that we have in there. If you try to print something that has not been defined, assuming number, if I print this, it will tell me number is not defined, because this print number of students works because number of students has been declared, has been defined here, declared and defined here. So if I want to increase the number of students, assuming another student has arrived, and I'll say number of students now is equal to number of students plus 1. That is, number of students now, the variable number of students now takes number of students that has been here and add 1 to it. If I print this again and I run it, you can see that number of students has increased from 2 to 1. So this construct that I have here, it can be shortened as like this: number of students plus 1. So number of students plus 1. So it's the same thing as what I have done here, which is number of students is equal to number of students plus 1. If I run this now and I print number of students again, then you see that the number of students would have increased to 4. So this construct is the same thing as this, right? So you can see how I can manipulate that variable number of students, changing the number according to the needs in my program, because it has been stored in a variable. It gives the value context, and it helps us to store it, retrieve it, manipulate it, and update it. So the variables have type. For example, if we want to inspect the type of this variable, you can guess what the type can be. Type of the variable. Let's run this. You can see that the type of variable is integer. The type of this variable is integer, and integer is not only the type of variable that we can have. For example, we can have, let's say, temperature value, which is equal to 65.7. If you declare this temperature value 65.7, and assuming we want to inspect it, let's say type of this temperature value, you will see that this is different from the former one. This is a float type. There's a float type because it has values at the right side of the decimal point. So you can see this is another type of variable. And we can also declare names, like the first name, let's say, is John, you can see, and the last name, let's say, is Bruce, and we say full name is equal to first name plus the last name. So let's see what this gives us. Then let's inspect the type. Print type. What's the type of full name? What is the type of last name? And what is the type of full name? Yeah, the first one is first name. So let's look at what we have here. You can see that all of them are string type, and if we print, let's print the full name and see what we have there. So you can see that the first name and the last name has been concatenated with the space that is we have here. You can see that the difference between what this addition operator does for integer and what it does for string data type. You can see I have shown you the integer variable type, the float variable type, and now the string variable type. And you can see that I use this addition on string variable type. It does concatenate the string value rather than addition that it does. So we can also declare variable type, let's say text number, and we have let's say we have 10, text number 2. Let's say we have another 10, and we say text number add is equal to text number, the first one, plus text number, the second one. So if we print the value of this, and we also inspect the type of text number here, the type here, so if we inspect the type here, we can see that the output here is not as the output of integer 10 plus 10. It's what this does is concatenating this with this, and so this value 10 is not seen as number, it is seen as text. So what happens to John and Bruce with this addition is what happens to the 10 and 10. That's why you have 10 10 instead of 20 as expected if it were to be number. And you can see that all those variables are string variables. Assuming I remove this quotation mark and I run this text again, it will give me 20, and all this will change to integer. So we can have string variable, which is this quoted, as in if you have the quotation mark is a string variable. We can have integer variable, and I've shown you a floating type variable. We can also have another type of variable, let's say my name list, which is holding list of names. Let's say you have John, you have Joel, you have Jude, you have Joseph. This is a variable also. Let's see the type of variable. Print type. The type of this variable, you can see, is a list. This is a list. So we can have, there are many types, data types that we can store inside a named variable, and it allocates space for that particular variable in memory. So I have been able to show you integer variable, float variable, string variable, some ways that you can manipulate them. You can see that storing them inside a named variable helps us to be able to manipulate them. Assuming I want to see what is in this list, let's say I want to print what is in my list, and in the number 4 of my list, because counting starts from 0 in computing. So here we have number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. What do we have in number 4 of my list, and I want to print it? You can see that I have Joseph. Can you see that I can manipulate or retrieve information from this list because it is being stored inside a named variable. So this is briefly about variable. There are many other types, data type, that we'll talk about in this course. So let's stop it from here now. The next clip will be on loop. Let's move on.